Hi everyone. For this video, we're going to look at how to perform a linear regression in Excel. So just to remind you, linear regression contains predictor and criterion variables. And regression actually comes from correlation. It's used for predicting the value of one variable based on the value of another variable. However, there's a difference between correlations and regressions. In correlation, you cannot claim any causation between the two variables. You can't, there is no like one variable is an independent variable and another variable is a dependent variable. But there is some kind of relationship between the two variables. It's just not clear what it is. In a regression, one variable is considered the predictor variable or independent variable, and the other one is considered a criterion or dependent variable. So when we have the results of regression, we can say that one variable causes or is responsible for a certain amount of variation in the other variable. And linear regression is based on this equation, the y equals bx plus a. Y is the value of the variable being predicted, or in other words, the criterion or dependent variable. B is the slope of the line. The x is the value of the variable that you already know, or the predictor or independent variable, and a is the y-intercept. It's where y crosses where the line where it crosses a line if x equals 0. So for our data, we are looking at Stroop data that my class has taken over the many semesters, and so in the Stroop test or experiment, what they do is they read words that have the spelling and the color that match. So if it's red, the color of the word is also printed in red font. And then they take the test again, but now red is not, it's spelled out red, but it's not in the red color. Now the font may be in blue or yellow or green. It's incongruent. So in this case, we're going to look at how well can the time it took a student to perform the test on time 1 where the spelling and color matched, how well can that predict the time it took them to read the words when the spelling and color did not match. So in our linear regression, the y, the dependent variable, would be time 2, and the independent variable would be the x right here in the slope, right? Okay, so to perform our test in Excel, you may or may not have the capability to perform this analysis. If you go to the Data tab and you don't see Data Analysis, you need to turn it on. So go to File, Options, and then select Add-ins. Click on Analysis Tool Pack VBA, and then click Go. And then make sure this Analysis Tool Pack is the check mark, the box is checked. And then click OK, and then your data analysis should show up. And then select it. You'll have to scroll down a bit and find regression and click OK. Now we want the y, that's the dependent variable, to be populated in this box. So click the arrow, the little square with the arrow in it, and select everything including the title. So scroll down. Okay. And then X is time 1. Let's go back up here. Grab the title and go all the way down. Now we want to tell it that it has labels because we selected them. And then we want to tell it where to put the output. You can have it put on the same page. You can have it put on a new worksheet or a new tab in your Excel workbook. or you can make it open a new workbook and put in the results. We want to keep it right here on this page, so we're going to select the radial dial there and click there, and we're just going to put the results to start in this box right here, and that's it. Click OK. Now we want to be able to see this data a little bit better, so there we go. So I just happened to have done linear regression in SPSS to see how well this matches up compared to Excel. And the results are exactly the same. So that should ease your mind. You can see here that, let's see, if you go to the R, we have 0.437 or so. Here's R, 0.437. And let's see, let's look at another. Okay, how about the F test? 22.845. Oops. 22.845. It matches. And the rest of the numbers do match as well. Okay, so now the next step is if you performed a linear regression and you did this for a research project of yours, you're probably going to be writing a paper to report the outcome of your results. And typically in the social sciences, you need to follow APA format. And so in order to do that, we would write a sentence that looks very much like this. A simple regression was conducted to investigate how well the time it takes to read words with congruent spelling and word color in a Stroop test predicts the time it takes to read words with incongruent spelling and word color in a Stroop test. The results were statistically significant, and then you put the F for the F test, and then the degrees of freedom, and you would find that here is 1 in 90. This is the number of groups, and this is the number sample size. So if you're unsure what they are, you'll find those right here, 1, and then 97, and then the F statistic. We just showed you that a moment ago. And then the p-value. Let's find our p-value. Here is your p-value. And if you have a strange number that looks like that, it means that the number has too many zeros. And you can actually find the exact number by clicking on the cell and then selecting number. And then you can make the zeros continue until you finally reach a number if you want the exact number. And voila, there's the number. So you have to tell it how to read the cell. Okay. Okay, and so then you put in your p-value. In this case, we just put p was less than 0.001. And then the identified equation to understand this relationship was incongruent spelling and word color. And we're going by this equation here, right here. So incongruent word color, y, equals, here's slope, and then the independent variable, congruent spelling and word color, and then plus 13.19. And you would find those here. Here's your slope. Pardon me. Here's your slope. And then there's 13.19 right there. Those are the two numbers, which are here. So y-intercept and the slope, b. All right. Okay, so this indicates that, then you report the r-square was 0.191, which was right here, 0.191, it's rounded. This indicates that 19.1%, we turn that into a percentage, this indicates that 19.1% of the variance in the time it takes to read incongruent spelling and word color was explained by the time it takes to read congruent spelling and word color. According to Cohen 1988, this is a medium effect size. So that's how you would write it in APA format. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you next time.